What is up, EKN Nation? How are you today? My name is Rob Howden, joined by David Cole. Just about a week out from the Superkarts USA SuperNationals. Cap things off, of course, on Super Sunday, just over a week ago. It's now Monday, December the 13th. I needed a week, David, to sleep and get my voice back a little bit. It was pretty scratchy by when it was all said and done. You and I did a debrief on the event that night. At
Super Sunday.
So we kind of went over everything, but we decided we'd come back and do another one here like we normally do. We'll do our junior, cadet, and junior categories today. Tomorrow night, the senior classes, of course, with the single speed and the shifters. We got some guests we're bringing on. We got a guest who will join us today, but time to get back and do this one more time, right? Let's wrap up our coverage of this year's SuperNationals.
Yeah, like you said, we kind of did a quick one. Now we can get a little more in depth. We can talk about other drivers that we didn't mention or kind of talk more about how their week progressed. And then, of course, have an interview. Again, it was great being at Resorts World, Las Vegas. Great place to stay. Unfortunately, there just wasn't a lot of traffic, kind of like what we saw at the Rio, where obviously we sat where people came in and would either go to that way to their hotel room or that way to the hotel room or that way to the bar or right there to the bar. So it was a little bit easier to get guests on board. We had a couple people stop by on Sunday, but it just didn't have that same finesse. So we need to get a little bit more in depth and again, talk a little bit more about each category.
Let's start by telling you who's presenting the show today, and that's going to be Parolin USA. It all started back in 1994 when former kart driver Albino Parolin decided to move his passion for karting from the track to his small workshop. That's when Parolin was born. Parolin USA is North America's source for Parolin products, and we run a factory team at all the major Superkarts USA, USPKS, and Rock Cup events. The Parolin chassis line for 2021 includes the Invader shifter, the Le Mans Tag single-speed chassis for junior and senior drivers, and the 28-mil opportunity model for the cadet classes, as well as the Daytona four-cycle chassis. Get on the chassis that's winning. Drive a Parolin. For more information, head to ParolinUSA.com. All right, DC, first and foremost, I think we'll jump into the By the Numbers as we normally do. We got a paddock pass for you. For those of you who tuned in to watch the broadcast on Superkarts USA's Facebook and YouTube channels, obviously the biggest news was the move out to the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. I think all of us were wondering what we were going to see when we got there, but David, I'll give it straight up to Superkarts USA. They did a fantastic job. Huge parking lot to house all the rental cars that everybody had to get. We rolled in, and man, it was just like business as usual, right? They dropped the track in the middle of this parking lot, and probably the best part, you can get to it at the end, the actual lot itself, super smooth. The asphalt took rubber. It turned out to be a really good racetrack.
Yeah, there wasn't any complaints about the asphalt whatsoever. It was more so the way the track was built, but
a little tight.
Before we get to that, it was pick up everything. All of the contracts and everything had to be rerouted to Las Vegas Motor Speedway. So kudos to Superkarts USA for being able to pull this off. And it, from the outside looking in, it looked like everything went flawless. There was maybe one or two things that could have been addressed that, again, it was a frantic 30 days getting everything done. But yeah, I mean, picture perfect weather. That helped big time. We didn't have any issues with wind, which we sometimes even had at the Rio. We didn't have any issues with precipitation. It was sunny skies every single day. We had a little bit of a chill one of the nights, but other than that, we really didn't need coats. Maybe a nice little hoodie to put on that you could get from Style Aesthetics. But other than that, you couldn't have asked for a better week in Las Vegas.
Yeah, you mentioned all the stuff that needed to get moved because folks obviously coming in, you're 6 months out. You've got, or even maybe more than that, you've got tent rentals, you've got fencing rentals, generators, lights. All the race directors are up on their scissor lifts. You've got the stuff like for our EKN Cooper Tower broadcast center, our tower. You get the full actual towers that have to get built. They're bringing in different buildings for tech. For timing and scoring for the audio crew. So all that stuff had to get reset, brought back out to a different venue. And then, of course, that site's got to be surveyed and where we're going to put everything. How's it going to shake down? So we'll give some kudos right now to Neil Strickland and his staff, David, literally coming up. When you go to the Rio, they've been there before, right? Yeah, we put this here. the lines are still here, so drop this here. Not so much when you're at a brand new venue.
Yeah, it wasn't, and again, the parking lots were shaped differently, so you had to kind of revamp. Stan Bernowski had to revamp the paddock space. Put people in certain positions where they needed to be. Again, it reminded me of the 2015, 2016 when we were out the Westgate, where the paddock kind of was an L shaped and surrounded the racetrack. So, they had experience like that, so they were able to do it. They had plenty of room. We could have done a lot of different ways with the paddock and done different things with, like, say, vendor row or the way the grandstand sat or where we were positioned and where scoring is and stuff like that. So there's definitely a lot of different things that they can review, regarding, now that everything's done. So, but again, it was an A+ in terms of getting everything done.
So this particular show, we're going to talk about Micro Swift, Mini Swift, K100 Junior, and X30 Junior. David, what did they end up with? Did you have the number in your article exactly how many drivers end up having taken qualifying times?
I have entry total as 486. Again, we have drivers doing double duty, so you got to go entries. I have 486 as the actual total. I know they talked about over 500. They had cancellations. There were a number of drivers that we saw on the entry list. We even talked about. We even predicted that would be there.
Kai Sorensen screwed us on that one.
Yeah, exactly. So screwed me really bad. But yeah, anyway, we'll get into that later. But yeah, 486. So it's a good total. And again, still issues with Canadians not being able to come down, people getting ready for the Rotex Grand Finals, which is going on here as well too. People were just kind of settling in, and it just didn't, it was after Thanksgiving rather than before Thanksgiving, so people might have had family plans and things set up, so where this week didn't work out. But again, with all the different type of turmoil that surrounded this event, to have the 486 number in just the 9 categories that they did have, it's amazing.
Still a massive race, the biggest sprint karting race in North America in 2021. Yep. 46 drivers in micro, 62 in mini, 46 in KA100 Junior, and 45 in X30 Junior. Dave, that's just a pretty solid cross-section, start to finish.
Yeah, really, the only downward of that was the X30 Junior, and I think there you see a lot of international drivers coming over to race that X30 Junior. We used to see a lot of drivers from the OK Junior categories. A lot of the factory drivers come over and race X30 Junior. So I think, you could probably put 10 to 15 number in that range. So that helped eliminate the need for heat race format for that category, where it was just the 45 drivers. So they only had the 3 heat races, no the A, C, or D heat groups. So I think we'll see that category grow up. We've got a lot of number of mini drivers that are probably going to graduate, and we'll hopefully get more international drivers once again next year. So I think we'll see that number go back up to that 76 or in that ballpark range. And really, they could probably open up KA100 Junior, do a double to the 88 mark. So it's just timing and how everything's going to shake out.
Well, there's only so many spots you can have in the schedule. Unless we go another day, they're not going to go another day. It is what it is, right? There's cycles that go back and forth. We'll see what happens that way. But just bottom line, as you said, great numbers. I will take the opportunity right now while we're here to thank our broadcast partners from that weekend. It was so great to have them on board with us. The Alan Rudolph Racing Academy was our title sponsor of the entire EKN live broadcast of that weekend. Acceleration Kart Racing was our Super Sunday presenting sponsor once again. Odenthal Racing Products came on board for the first time as our Saturday presenting sponsor, and Cartlift as well was our Friday presenting sponsor. So big thank you to them. And of course, as always, Cooper Tires. And we'll take time to take a shout out to Brian Williamson. Brian already posting on there. Hey, Brian, how are you? Thank you so much. Fellow number 37.
Is he saying hello or I heart?
I think he's probably saying hi.
Is it the I heart?
It could potentially be that. Essentially my brother-in-law. So
yeah.
Let's go to the Paddock Pass, David, and start with the sponsor of the Paddock Pass, Acceleration Kart Racing. Acceleration Kart Racing has everything you need to go racing, from tires to helmets. They have a great website for you to order from, and kart racers ready to pick up the phone and answer your questions 6 days a week. With over 20 years of kart racing under their belts, Acceleration Kart Racing has the experience you need to help you succeed on the racetrack. You can rely on them to get the parts you need when you need them. Make Acceleration Kart Racing your go-to source for everything karting, so head to www.shopakr.com. David, all right, Paddock Pass. First and foremost, we talked about it a little bit already. Brand new location, brand new host hotel. We talked about doing the debrief show at the hotel. The hotel as itself, everybody said, this is the nicest hotel I've ever stayed at during a SuperNationals weekend. It was a great place. Rooms were beautiful. Couldn't ask for much more. And and a great slice of pizza.
It's a 5-star across my everything, every aspect. The only thing I didn't get to try out was the pool. And again, I heard people were in the pool Monday, so it was warm enough in Vegas for people to be in the pool during the day. So other than that, it was probably one of the nicest hotels I've been to, especially in Vegas. I think it was better than New York, even though I love the dueling piano bar down there.
That was fun.
But again, great food court, different restaurants to be able to go to, and they have even more restaurants coming in that weren't quite open yet. Starbucks right there, that was one of the busy hot spots every morning as we walked over to get to our rental car. But yeah, plenty of different options right there on the strip. Again, that's key for a lot of people because they're there for Vegas. They're, those guys who are only in the afternoon, they can party all night long and sleep in and be able to go out to the strip. So, and we were
right on the strip, like you said. Yeah.
Yeah. We walked we actually walked from Benihana's down the road, right down the strip. So it was perfect. Right across the street from where we used to have the SuperNationals at the Las Vegas Convention Center. So that parking lot's still there. So
you kept eyeing that every morning.
Keep eyeing that, man. You could either stay at the Westgate or you could stay at Resorts World. A little in between. You got a little kart race going on. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'd like to do it, but
let's obviously big for the paddock pass, the layout of the racetrack, David. Let's talk about that a little bit. Like you said, very similar to what we had in 2019. Everybody said just a lot of tighter sections. Some people really liked it. There were other people that didn't like it at all. So just a couple of really tight sections.
Yeah, and again, it's when we used to build these temporary circuits, it almost was like a square track. We didn't really round the barriers around the outside. We didn't round the barriers around this. It was, and the karters kind of made their way, made the path of the actual racetrack. Where SCUSA sets up the racetrack to where you have to stay within these guidelines of the barriers because it surrounds the entire racetrack. And there's certain wide spots of the racetrack. Obviously, the last turn coming to the start-finish line, and then it narrowed into turn 1. And then you have the tight turn 2, tight turn 3. And then it widens out for the straightaway down to turn 4. And that's where you get a little bit different. Basically from there all the way to the long straightaway. It was a lot different than what we have seen at the Rio. The chicane was really a chicane this year. It was very similar to what we saw in 2017 when we had that big curbing chicane.
Yeah.
Where we had a lot of guys jumping, especially the shifters. They would just jump right over it and then cut over it. And it was probably the slowest part of the racetrack that year. This was very similar to that, minus they did have curbs, and I think really you didn't use them unless you had to, unless somebody,
they were designed so you wouldn't use them.
So you wouldn't, but people did. And again, because if you're getting crowded, you're like, well, I got to use the curb. And so people were using them, especially in the pro shifter category. Those guys were using them like crazy. But it still provided good racing. It made passing more precise, I think, if that's a good word to use.
Yeah, I agree. Yep. And again, as always, it held everybody. Like when you went on the defensive, just like we saw in 2019, it brought everybody back in. The minute a drivers went on the defensive, everybody else from the back closed up because the exit speed is so slow. And it changed a lot of the racing.
Well, you see that everywhere you go now. I mean, anytime you run a defensive line, you're going to lose 2 to 3 tenths that lap. And if somebody's behind 4 to 6 tenths, they're going to close up and they're going to close up. And then especially if it's a group, then it becomes a little bit more chaotic. But, that's the way we have with our bumper system. You can run that defensive line and only get a little shove from behind and not really get wrecked or
that's it.
Yeah.
Obviously, the paddock pass, one of the biggest things was the debut of the Aspen Fuels, the Aspen Sport program. Did you get a chance to talk to anybody about the fuel itself? I didn't hear anybody complain about it, which is obviously the very first step.
I think that's the number one thing. I didn't hear anybody complain about the fuel. I think there was some question about, well, is the fuel causing a problem with, I think maybe some carburation issues on a couple people. I know we saw somebody in Pro Shifter have some carburetor issues.
Yeah, Billy Musgrave dealt with that.
And so is it a product of just what they did with the carburetor, or is it a product of fuel, the mixture of the oil? Again, a lot of different things, a lot of different variables when it comes to fuel. But overall, there wasn't, guys raising their hand on the straightaway because they seized an engine or any of that. So that's a good positive. Now, moving forward, we'll come to different climates. We'll come to different elevations, all the different weather. Florida is completely different from what you get in the Midwest, how carburation works with that. So a lot of testing that teams and engine builders are going to have to be doing moving forward. But I think overall, it was a great debut. Again, no major issues that we've been told of or even seen on the week.
So there you have it, folks. That is the Paddock Pass, brought to you by Acceleration Kart Racing. We pause this show for a quick commercial break. Stay tuned for more here on the EKN Radio Network. Leading Edge Motorsports is the industry answer to winning in karting. At the helm is industry veteran Greg Bell, who has orchestrated the success of many drivers dating back to the mid-1990s. Based in Lodi, California, Leading Edge Motorsports is the Western importer with IP karting that includes the Praga and Formula K chassis brands. Leading Edge Motorsports provides in-depth driver development for those racers in Northern California and across the country. Arrive and drive services, kart preparation, and driver coaching are available under the LEM tent throughout the season. Bell's record of working with drivers includes recent victories at North America's biggest karting events, including the Rock the Rio and the SUSA SuperNationals. Greg Bell's knowledge for building engines spans 2 decades and is now under the Mega Power branding, providing a reliable engine service and tuning knowledge. No matter the chassis brand, choose Mega Power to get to the front. Click over to leadingedgemotorsports.com for more and find them on social media to stay connected. At Leading Edge Motorsports, winning never gets old. In racing, experience is priceless. Franklin Motorsports is a leader in the karting industry with over 50 years of combined karting experience, and we can provide you with everything you need to go racing. With a large online product selection, select track support events, and a wide variety of shop services, Franklin Motorsports is your complete karting source. Check out our online store at www.franklinkart.com, where all our products are just a mouse click away. We're constantly adding to the growing product selection on the online store, and we ship daily to ensure products get to you quickly. We specialize in IAME engines, tilt seats, ceramic products, driveline branded products, Briggs & Stratton engines, OTK products, and of course, the championship-winning Merlin chassis. In our online store, you'll find a variety of items to fill your karting needs. Franklin Motorsports is also known for our wide variety of services and is home to Innovative Engine Works by FMS, our in-house engine service department. Frame straightening, kart prep, and dyno testing are all services offered regularly at Franklin Motorsports. For all things karting, visit franklinkart.com. Thank you for listening to the EKN Radio Network. We now join the show already in progress. All right, David, let's jump into the race report now. I think we should get at it. We will say as we're back here, if you have any questions and you're on the stream here right now, feel free to put them in the comments there. We'll try to bring them into the show, try to answer any questions that you may have. Just feel free to put those in the comments, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. Our race report today is being presented by OTK USA. All over the world, everyone knows OTK is the gold standard for quality and performance. In the United States, OTK USA is the source for all things OTK. From the legendary Tony Kart brand to the race-winning Cosmic and Esprit chassis, and now the new Red Speed and EOS brands, OTK quality is second to none. To learn more about a specific product line or to find the OTK dealer near you, whether it's Tony Kart, Cosmic, Esprit, Red Speed, or EOS, visit www.otkusa.com. All right, let's jump into it now. Let's go X30 Junior. And as we have done throughout the season, we start with a headline. We'll fill the story in for you from there. For those of you ready to talk about the predictions and how David did not win this year, the predictions, we're going to wait till the very end of the show for that. I will say this, David. You messaged me. You messaged me when you came back and kind of looked at the numbers and said, you kicked my ass. And then you, a little later, said, you actually didn't beat me by much.
No, I had a couple positions in the wrong person, so I
All right.
gave you more points than you should have had. Which
Okay.
I didn't fudge the numbers. It's just clear, accounting error. It
All
happens all
right.
the time.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was close, but again, it was basically boiled down to a couple picks that you made that set
I picked a
yourself
couple of
apart from
winners.
me.
I picked a couple of winners.
I picked a couple winners as well too, but
You picked easy winners.
we'll get into
All right.
the
That's
more
later on.
specifics
That's later on. All right. The headline for X30 Junior: 13th different name added to winners list. That is cool.
It is. And again, this is one of those categories that you could have picked a dozen of drivers, if not more, in this category.
Yeah.
As we, again, a smaller field this year, but again, a number of different drivers who could have been in contention and were in contention, including top qualifier Noah Baker. Noah Baker came out and set fast time in the X30 Junior category, ahead of Jeremy Fletcher and Justin Ataconis. But it was Jorge Ortiz who came out with 2 victories in the opening 2 heat races.
Indeed, yeah.
So coming from the 5th position, going up and scoring those 2 victories. Unfortunately, he got a pushback bumper penalty, which dropped him down to the 11th spot in the 3rd heat. And that victory went to Jeremy Fletcher, who again ran, where's his positions here? 7th, 11th, and a 1st. So a little bit of a mixed bag of results for him. And so all this mixing up of the results put Justin Ataconis on the pole position for the Super Sunday main event, with Noah Baker lining up in 2nd, Jorge Ortiz in 3rd, Max Garcia in 4th, and then Jeremy Fletcher in the 5th position.
I just actually rewatched these races before I came back on. I've watched them. Obviously, I watched them when I called them. I watched them again when I did the live show, which will be on MAV TV in January. And I also then turned around and had to watch them again, just to get myself dialed in. This race, David, I thought was fantastic. And I think the winner of both races is the guy joining us today. Jeremy Fletcher is going to be joining us a little bit later on. I wondered whether or not we'd have anybody dive out like that and be able to pull away. But from the very get-go, he's the one that was able to get out of the opening couple of corners, had the chaos behind him, and he put the good laps down and got away early. I thought that was super impressive that he was able to be the one guy that got out of the opening corners.
Yeah, Justin Ataconis actually led the opening 2 laps, but by that time, Fletcher got to his rear bumper, made the move. And then from there, it was kind of a fight for 2nd behind him. And then Fletcher just continued to lay consistent fast laps down over and over to be able to pull away to a solid lead, and really just had no pressure the entire distance.
Let's give the time off the top here to give some props to Justin Ataconis as well. Again, the 3 heat race deal, you just can't make any mistakes. So didn't we tell everybody that you can't make mistakes? And this is a guy that didn't make any mistakes. He was so good in the heat races.
Yeah, qualified 3rd, ran 4th in the first heat race, and then 3rd in the other 2. So it's consistent, not making mistakes. And again, we'll talk to Jeremy about that. What happened in the opening 2 heats to put you behind because you qualified 6th or 2nd. So it's like, was it the outside line? A lot of things, because we saw a lot of tight racing in the X30 Junior heat races. A lot of some bump and runs and some contact here and there with a lot of different drivers, and a lot of, again, Jorge Ortiz had the 2 wins and then had the pushback bumper to send him to 11th. That essentially took the pole position away from him. So
and that outside line running around turn 1. And how many times we see guys jamming each other 3 wide, getting into the barriers on the outside.
Ask Brandon Jarzakrak.
Yeah, true enough. Hannah Greenmeyer got the same thing.
Hannah Greenmeyer got it as well too. A number of different drivers got into that mix. So it was a little bit. So yeah, again, Fletcher just was able to put down. And again, he wasn't the quickest car down the racetrack, but he had the most consistent laps as soon as he got out front. And
I called that mid race when he knocked about. I think he knocked like 4, 5 4s in a row. Boom, 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 boom. Right. And here's the thing. What I liked about it. Obviously, everybody's behind him. They're all kind of they're jostling around. Max Garcia was kind of stepping his way forward. He got back to like 5th or 6th, but just kept methodically working his way forward. He ended up being the guy at the front. But it was Jeremy's pressure, him pulling away and nobody being able to really catch up to him. I think it started to push that sense of urgency into a lot of drivers behind. Like, I don't want to run for 2nd here. I want to see if I can't go get him.
Yeah, and then once you got out to 2nd, then people would come after you again. So it was really chaotic for that. And again, easy sailing for him. But good props to Max Garcia for getting that 2nd spot. Again, rookie in the field to be able to move up to finish second. And he's got a number of podiums at the SuperNationals. He really does like the SuperNationals.
And let's just say this too: it's not like he just walked away, because at one point, near the end of the lap, last 6 laps, they really started to close in a big way, right? And then the battle. Then I want to say Adaconis made a move coming out of the chicane, dove to the inside of Garcia to take the spot, and that racing allowed Chase Hand to get in there as well. Chase came up and it was right there. So really, all that fighting allowed Jeremy to pull away at the end. But then we had this battle between Garcia and Adaconis. I thought Hand was going to come out with second at one point. He tried to do an over-under when they got racing out of turn number 10. All in all, it got to a point where I think Adaconis said, I'm not going to win from second, so I'm going to second to see if I can't get away. And then they just decided to race for P2.
Yeah, and Hand crossed the line in the third position. We got a pushback bumper penalty, and Hand was the quickest driver on the racetrack, was credited with fast lap of the race. So that pushed him down to the 8th spot. That moved Caleb Gaffer up to the 4th spot, and then put Aiden Ingrata, a Canadian, up to 5th position.
Yeah, and Gaffera and Ingrata kind of worked their way forward as well, right? They were kind of teamed up a bit. They were able to catch Ortiz.
Both
they moved
5
Ortiz
spots,
back. Yeah, and then they just kept moving forward. So good shout out to both of those guys in getting themselves forward. And again, Gaffera is the guy that ends up with the luck on that one. He was pretty quick, but had that one issue where he ended up in the barriers in one of the heat races. That knocked him down big time for the starting spot. So good job for Caleb to fight his way back forward in that Rawlison Performance Group deal. But again, 4.6 seconds. Once they started fighting, Fletcher was able to pull away. And
he was.
Hey, and again, because this was the second race, this was the back-to-back jacks, right? At the end of this one here. And again, this was the final weekend in junior for Jeremy Fletcher. What a great way to do it. Had already won at KA100 Junior, which we'll talk about next. This was the way to cap off your junior career with an exclamation point.
It certainly was. One more thing before we move to KA100 Junior, we got to talk about Christian Miles. I know we talked about him in the debrief, but
100%.
He had an issue in qualifying.
Got a penalty.
No, it was a penalty.
He got a penalty.
It was for swerving at somebody. And again, they were hammering down on that type of stuff during the sessions. But so basically started 45th every heat race, got up to 20th, and I believe got into the top 20 in the third heat. And he actually I got the results. Yeah. 18th, 20th, and 10th in the 3 heat races.
Ridiculous.
So I think he had 70 some karts passed by the 3 different heat by the end of the heat races. So that put him 17th on the main event, and he was able to move up 7 positions to the 10th spot. So,
and to be honest, he was like almost 8th at one point. Like there was that he was in that
bit of he really was in the top 10. Yeah,
Vinny Phillips, Brandon Carr, all those guys were in that great fight there.
Noah Baker as well in there too, along with I believe Sebastian Weldon. He was one of those that was kind of keeping ahead of everybody. So a really good weekend. Miles is among the many karters going down to Sebring this week for the Lucas Oil School karting shootout that happened this weekend.
Well, take a little momentum in there for Christian, because that was, and I didn't pick up on it the first day. Finally saw it, so I kind of watched it in the third race, because we do the best we can, obviously, to see who's moving forward. But I hadn't been alerted to the fact that he got that penalty. I didn't know he started last in those races. So, man, everybody has a different experience in the Supernats, right? Sometimes sometimes you're up front battling away. Sometimes it's this life experience thing where you fight from the very back and pass all these guys.
There's 486 different stories this SuperNationals. Again, everybody has a different story. There's a lot of there's many good ones. There's theirs that are just there to experience it. There's some that are, heartbroken on the way they performed or some issues that happened. We saw a number of drivers, getting wrecked on the opening lap of the main event. That's just, you work all year and all week for that Super Sunday moment, and it's gone in a blink of an eye. So again, a lot of heartbreaks, but a lot of cheerful and enjoyment for a handful of drivers leaving the week.
To tie it back to your title, David, Jeremy Fletcher becomes the 13th different winner in X30 Junior at the SuperNationals.
Yeah, again, no repeat winners in the many tag junior that it began with, and then moved to X30 Junior. We've had no repeat winners, and we won't, because we'll talk a little bit more about Jeremy moving up to the senior ranks later on.
We pause this show for a quick commercial break. Stay tuned for more here on the EKN Radio Network. Feel like you're racing alongside the many legends that have called CRG home. With direct factory support, the CRG Nordam operation is the North American distributor for all CRG products related to karting and is based just outside Houston, Texas. The complete racing chassis line, including the famous Road Rebel shifter kart, is available through CRG Nordam. The growing FS4 Briggs & Stratton focused chassis is expanding worldwide, including right here in North America. Many tracks, indoor and outdoor, have made the switch to the Centurion rental kart line through CRG. New for the 2020 season is the Mini Hero for cadet racing, homologated for FIA competitions around the world. Head over to kartcrg.com or find them on all social media networks. The Briggs & Stratton 206 engine is where out-of-the-box ease and outstanding consistency meet to create legendary races. Briggs & Stratton's history in motorsports dates back to when the first engines came off the assembly line in the early 1900s. Their focus on the grassroots level continues to help build generations of racers. Since 2008, the Briggs & Stratton 206 has gained a following that has the engine powering the largest fields in North American karting today. From the club level and track programs to traveling regional series and national events, Briggs & Stratton competition provides the most exciting racing in the sport. Engineered and hand-built exclusively for racing, every Briggs & Stratton 206 engine is power tested and serialized before it goes in the box. Karters can take that engine straight from the box to their kart and be on the podium at the end of race day. Be sure to follow Briggs & Stratton Racing on Facebook and through @RaceBriggs on Instagram. To learn more about the 206 engine or to find the North American dealer near you, head to briggsracing.com. Briggs & Stratton Racing, what powers you? Thank you for listening to the EKN Radio Network. We now join the show already in progress. All right, this race report brought to you by OTK USA. Let's move into the KA100 Junior class, and the headline, exciting final lap as Fletcher earns first SuperNationals win.
Now, we say that because KA100 Junior was third in the order, so yeah, it doesn't really go with the way we scripted the debrief here, but it was his first victory of the event because it was the third in order. And again, this was one of those race categories where there was a handful of drivers who were in contention. Jesus Vasquez Jr. started the week off with fastest in qualifying. We're like, oh man, this guy's ready. He's ready to have that breakthrough performance. Unfortunately, it didn't kind of end up that way as Fletcher was able to score both the first heat and the second heat race wins. Ended up being Noah Baker, who scored the third heat race. He was in the contention for the heat race in the opening heat race, but he had, I believe, a broken reed or something mechanical happened to him on the last lap. So that put him 35th in the order on that race. So he pulled off a second in heat 2 and then a win in heat 3. So that lined him up back in 9th. And the KA100 Junior category, when you're starting 9th, that's a little bit harder to come through rather than say X30 Junior. But
another driver I want to bring up too is Cole Kleck was very strong in the heat races. I'm not sure what happened to him after that. I just had a quick look at my results and got him down in the 21st position. I didn't get a chance to pick up there, but I will give props to him. He's a pretty quick kid out of Texas who was third in both of the first and second heat races. Not sure where he finished heat race 3, but started 4th on the grid. So man, obviously a pretty good overall group of heat races for Kleck. But again, Dave, Jeremy Fletcher, like you said, a couple of wins there, and he and Adakota's able to get out next 30 Junior. He'd already done it because he again was able to all that chaos around him, got a pretty nice little lead from the very get-go to the start of that race.
Yeah, this time the first race, which was this category, he and Elio Meza were able to break away. So very similar in style of that, except this time Meza was able to stay with Fletcher, and Fletcher was heated.
Well, no, didn't Fletcher was able to get away for the first half, if I'm not mistaken, and then Salim Hanna lined up with Elio, and they were able to reel in Jeremy together
for a little bit. Yep.
Yeah, they reeled in.
And then Hanna lost the draft, and it was just Fletcher and Meza at the end there. But so it was basically a duel for the victory.
Another guy that was good late in the late going a bit, and we'll talk about more about him a bit, was Cooper Shipman. He had a really, really strong Super Sunday. But I love the finish of this one here. It was wild. Elio Mesa runs for Iron Rock Motorsports, really settled into second spot, didn't put a lot of pressure on. Jeremy, of course, made the kind of block to the inside a little bit to start the last lap. Mesa does the over-under, passes him on the inside, and then they roll through. And once they get to turn 4, Mesa went on the full defense mode. Jeremy went to the outside, and in turn 4, the kind of hard hairpin left-hander, absolute textbook over-under. And coming out of the corner, had the spot. Mesa was kind of on the outside, maybe a quarter of the way up, and the track kind of comes back around. The barriers bring it back around, and Elio just didn't want to give it up and crowded in and got into the barriers, and that really was it right there. I want to say he bent or broke the right front.
I think he just completely sheared off the spindle from the tie rod. So it was basically the tires were pointed this way. It looked like he was trying to keep going. He made it up to the right hand corner, the next corner, but once he got through there, it just wouldn't turn. So he parked it off to the side.
Just a great SuperNationals last lap. Overtaking move into turn number 1. Nice bottom move. Jeremy tries to find a way back, but defensive into 2, defensive into 3, and then defensive into 4. And I got a textbook over under. Great pass.
Yeah, and again, it's just every 2 drivers going for the same piece of real estate. Fletcher had the advantage, and unfortunately, Mesa thought he did, and didn't have the not confidence, but the know of to get out of it, let Fletcher have this next corner and then close back up onto him before you get to the chicane, because I think something still could have happened if he would have backed out of it. But again, it's KA100. You're thinking momentum. So it's almost like the minis and micros. Anytime you get off the gas, I don't want to do that. But in this situation, it's better to maybe yield this corner so you can get him maybe another corner down the road.
So Mesa being out, Cooper Shipman, as I had said, who had such a great race, ends up finding himself up into second spot. Salim Hanna, who had dropped back. Hanna had dropped back from Elio Mesa and then got in the fight with Shipman. And I think was Christian Cameron right in that fight as well at that point? Was he close enough to be in the fight?
No, not yet. No, not yet. Yeah.
Okay.
Shipman actually was quickest on the racetrack, was able to score, put down the fast lap of the race, but let me look at the lap chart real quick again. I was going to go back.
It looks like Cameron was about 2 seconds behind.
Yeah, I think Cameron was a bunch with a bunch of drivers. I got to go to my notes here. Yeah, I think he was with a bunch of drivers that was behind them.
Yep.
I'm looking at it right now here. Yeah, Shipman, I think actually what it was is Shipman ran down Hanna, was able to close up on the last lap and steal that, what would have been the 3rd position, and then became second when Mesa retired. So, and then behind them, Cameron was able to get ahead of a group of drivers that included Baker, Chase Hand, Elliott Cox, finishing 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Then Noah Baker able to come up after the issues, as you said, in the heat races, end up P5 all total. Bottom line is, it was just a fantastic run to start off Fletcher's day, right?
Yeah, I mean, a great way to get that first win under your belt. And again, we'll ask him if it helped carry the confidence into the X30 junior category. But all in all, get that first win under your belt, become the 3rd different winner in the category. Again, it's only the 3rd year that we've had the KA100 junior division at the SuperNationals. We had James Wharton win in 2018, Brent Cruz win in 2019, and now Jeremy Fletcher in 2021. So and three solid names right there.
Three solid names. And as we know, Jeremy Fletcher, as he said, on the podium as well. Last race is an X30 junior, X30 senior beckons, and what a great way to cap off your junior career with literally dominating both wins, scoring both wins in the junior classes.
And again, become only the 2nd driver ever at the SuperNationals to win 2 categories in the same year. He joins Connor De Felipe, who did that in 2005 outside Sam Boyd Stadium.
Yeah, that's it. All right. You know what? He's waiting for us. He's been waiting for,
I think
35 minutes. Let's bring him in. He's been very patient.
He has been.
Appreciate. Jeremy Fletcher, thank you so much for joining us on this edition of the Debrief here as we wrap up the SuperNationals. You sat back while we extolled how great you were there. I guess I could say, has it sunken in? How good does it feel a week out of the SuperNats knowing you got a couple of trophies behind you?
I mean, It hasn't really, like, it just started sinking in day after day, like one of two. It was just
Yeah.
amazing feeling knowing I got both wins.
It is because we talked about this before we went on. The level of competition in the X30 junior class, the same goes for K100 junior. So hard for David and I to predict who we could put in the top five. How do you prepare for like coming into a race like that? You know you're going to be fast wherever you go. Do you have to just kind of leave your expectations kind of wide open?
Um, I really take it after the first practice session, and then we
Okay.
just build from there. Just think about what I need to work on. We just keep building all weekend until it's all laid out in the final.
Let's talk about that first practice session. Did you roll off? Were you pretty happy when you came off the track for that first time? We know the track changes a lot throughout the course of a Super Nationals, but did you feel like you guys were going to be on the right page from the get go?
Yeah, we were definitely fast. The only thing was there was definitely a lot of double yellows and reds. That
Yeah,
was my only main concern was say I get out to a lead like I had in X30 and then you get a full course caution, everybody's back in it.
yeah.
Thankfully everybody learned the track, but yeah, we were just fast out of the gate.
And that's one of the things you ran. Obviously, both categories. One was in the morning, one was in the afternoon. Talk a little about that. I know that it would have been nice not to have to rush around a bit, but it really, man, made for some long days for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, we'd get to the track and we'd have 12-hour days. We'd be on track at 8:50 and we'd leave the track at 7:50. It was just really long spread out days.
Let's start with the KA100 junior race. You were really able to leverage the pole there to jump out front, and with all the chaos that happened in 1 and 2 behind you, you were able to pull out a big good lead. Eventually, you got reeled in by Elio Mesa. Did that cause you any concern, or were you just kind of ready for the one-on-one battle?
Um, he was really fast. He ran me down from a big gap. I was actually surprised, but once he started pushing me, I knew it was just going to come down to a two-cart battle. I think he would have pulled away, honestly, if he would have passed me, because he definitely had pace on me. He was called me from miles back.
He did. It was a pretty decent little advantage. He makes the move on you in turn number one. Now, again, this is the racecraft you've learned over your many years, right? With the coaches you have in your team. What did you say to yourself? He goes by you inside of turn number one. Was turn four the first plan, or was there any other? Did you just kind of settle in and kind of try to figure out what was going to happen over that final lap?
I was kind of happy when he passed me, honestly, because I was just gonna try to find a hole in his blocking. This track was definitely good for the over and under. I did it multiple times in many of the heat races, but I knew four was a big one because it kind of like the corner almost cuts off and you get like an extra cart length. So
Yeah.
as soon as I got in there, I knew I was good.
So I like that. So passing that early put you in the aggressive position opposed to being on the defensive the entire last lap.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. I thought I was just gonna find a hole in his blocking and just get under him, and that's what I did.
Anytime during that race, did you think, just come by me, just go by me once? I just want to kind of see because I know a lot of drivers like to measure up who they're racing against. Did you think that, or you were like, I'm just going to hit my marks and go forward?
I would kind of take little peeks back just to see where I had advantages on him, but I really didn't want him to pass me knowing how fast he was.
Okay.
And I will say this: you didn't look back very much. You say little peaks. I don't know that I mentioned this in the broadcast. I kept looking, and you did not look back that much.
I would almost just kind of look like this and just see him in my peripheral to see if I gap him out of the corner a little bit. And
Is there anybody in your paddock? Is Gary or one of the guys rip on you if you look backwards?
they just want me to really stay focused, just keep hitting my marks, and just keep doing what I'm doing.
And that's exactly that. All right, so that's your K100 Junior. X30 obviously a little bit different. We talked a little bit more about that battle and how things kind of shook down. Overall, what were your thoughts on the X30 race?
I knew I wasn't starting great, but we had a great first lap. I don't know if I was in second, but I
Yeah,
came
behind
out of the
Adaconis.
first lap
Yep.
very fast. We were fast at the start, got to Adaconis, got around him, and I just put my head down, kept putting in fours, and walked away.
What about the opening two heat races? You qualified second. Was starting on the outside lane the issues for you in those two heat races? Kind of fill us in on that.
I mean, the main thing I did learn is you didn't really want to send it into turn one around the outside and try to hold it because you'd have things like Jar's crack where they ended up going into the wall and just running it out. So I just tried to tuck in wherever I could find a gap and just roll it through the first lap and settle down.
So,
Go, Dave.
so there wasn't any major issues. You just kind of got shuffled back. Okay.
Yeah, you just kind of have to find the gap so you don't go in the wall.
You win the first one. Obviously, as David had said, there's only 2 guys now, including you, who have won 2, because normally there's not, those 2 races to run on.
Yeah.
Over the last couple of years, we've had X30 Junior and the junior class, or and the K100 Junior. Not a lot of seniors do double dirty. You're going back to Connor De Felipe. How much did the first win help you with the second one? Did it give you confidence? Did it give you a better feel of where you maybe needed to be in a battle, or was it just a confidence thing?
I mean, yeah, it definitely boosted the confidence knowing we had the pace and we're able to run at the front and that, and getting the win was definitely amazing. So I think it did help me going into junior X30, also knowing like where to pass and how they're gonna block and everything.
Did it take some pressure off? I've already got a trophy. I'm good. I can
I
take
mean,
second if
no,
I have to.
I definitely wanted both of them. That
Yeah.
was the main goal. I was telling my mechanic Dalton, I just really wanted both wins to cap off the career.
Talk a little bit about the people that help you. Obviously, I know you got a big team behind you. The family's behind you. Talk about the crew that put your equipment together for you.
Yeah, we got Gary Willis from Gary Willis Racing. We got Brandon from Allison Racing Engines. You got Dalton, the mechanic. I mean, they're all just amazing people that are helping me get the go-kart together. You got OTK that makes the chassis. Odenthal, like you guys mentioned earlier, for the motor mounts. You just got the whole team that helps me.
So now the move's to senior, right? Like you said on the podium, man. These are my last junior races. I've got 2 big wins. I called it the exclamation point on your junior career. How excited are you to dive into run against the Norbergs and the Jarsacracks and the Greenmeyers and everybody else in that field, the Massiminos, you name it, like the huge field of senior drivers? Are you pretty pumped to get at that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely excited. I think it might be a different type of racing, maybe a little bit more calmer and more smarter moves. But other than that, I'm ready.
Well, listen, man, just obviously tremendous to see the way you're able to do it, and for me to pick one of those races. Thank you very much. I'll take that prediction. I appreciate. I was able to beat David because of you, Jeremy. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah. There it is.
David, any final thoughts for Jeremy?
Yeah, one more about the Supernats. Which did you prefer? Did you prefer the morning sessions, the way the track reacted and how the conditions were, or did you prefer the afternoon a little bit, as the sun was going down and then under the lights?
I liked under the lights because it made me feel like I was going faster.
Perfect.
Yeah,
that's what I would expect.
But
I like under the lights too.
Did the track? Obviously, you have different tires for the different categories, but did the track change a lot for you going between?
No, I mean it just got a little bit colder, so we were just playing with tire pressure, and that was about it.
All right. So what's 2022 look like? Where are we going to see you? What programs do you expect to be racing? Are you still with Gary for next year? I would assume you are. Just give us a little preview of where Jeremy Fletcher is going to be next year.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to carry the exact same team and just keep this roll going. First race will probably be Winter Tour. We'll start off the series with there. Then we have USPKS. We're going to run all of that. More than likely all the SCUSA stuff, some rock. We're just kind of flow through the year and just keep progressing as a senior.
All right. Let's do a preview. Where's your first senior win come? Is there a track? Is there a series? And you could say Winter Tour.
Hopefully Winter Tour.
Hopefully Winter Tour.
That'd be great.
I love it. David and I love watching these junior drivers jump up to senior and get a feel for what it's like. And you're right. It is a different kind of racing. There's a lot more respect. It's pretty aggressive, as you know, but it's more precise, I think. So overall, I think you're going to fit in really well. You've never lacked the aggression or the precision moves. So we expect you to do really well. Thanks for joining us here on the debrief. We really appreciate it.
Thank you guys for joining or inviting me to the show.
No problem.
Great to have you, buddy. So there he is, folks. Jeremy Fletcher put his name in the Superkarts USA record books. Connor De Felipe, David, part of the record book as the most wins. 4 wins at the SuperNationals. Kip Foster and Billy Musgrave with him at 4 wins. Also, like you said, the only driver until this year to win 2 races in 1 year. He won, I believe, Junior Intercontinental A, the JICA class, and ADCC Junior that year. And even though we've had this KA100 category and 2 junior classes for the last 3 years, first guy to do it, Jeremy Fletcher.
Oh, he could be the first guy to do it back-to-back years. He could run KA 100 senior and X30 senior next year and win both. I mean, and then be a 4-time.
Wow.
I mean, that would be very historic. I'm not going to predict that because obviously if I predict it, it's not going to happen according to
Don't put
Derek
that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
No, not going to do that. Not going to do that.
All right. That's it. Jeremy Fletcher. back-to-back jacks in X30 Junior and KA100 Junior. We pause this show for a quick commercial break. Stay tuned for more here on the EKN Radio Network. In karting, it's important to be supported by the right people. With over 40 years of experience in the sport, Trinity Karting Group has everything you need to make your program successful. We do it all, and we do it right. Trackside support and arrive and drive programs are available in 2021 for the USPKS and the Superkarts USA Pro Tour and SuperNationals, with full product sales and service and professional coaching from our experienced staff. Trinity Karting Group is a full-service operation based at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, which gives us access to our custom-designed driver training facility. This allows us to offer private, one-on-one coaching to take you to the next level. Trinity Karting Group is also your Midwest home for Tony Kart and IAME, and we're your source for MG and Avinco tires in the region. Tony Kart quality cannot be beat, so call us today to put you in a new chassis for your next event. From arrive and drive and coaching programs to the parts you need, let Trinity Karting Group provide you with customer service and a racing experience second to none. Trinity Karting Group has a long history in the sport, a winning pedigree, and we're dedicated to driver development. We take pride in our professional approach and our positive attitude. Let us build a custom race program for you. Give us a call at 513-421-4463 or check us out online at trinitykartinggroup.com. Fast, fair, and fun. Ignite Spec Karting offers you all of that at an affordable price. And the all-new IgniteKarting.com website provides you with the information you need to fuel your passion for kart racing. Ignite Karting is a spec kart that features the Margay racing chassis with a Briggs & Stratton 206 engine and a Hoosier R80 tire. Everyone in the junior, senior, and masters classes utilize the same Ignite K3 kart, which puts all the emphasis squarely on the driver. You can race the Ignite package from Margay at the local, regional, and national level. Special events for 2021 include the Ignite Majors, featuring events at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, Quincy Grand Prix, and Newcastle Motorsports Park. Those in the Midwest can enjoy the regional-based Ignite Challenge Series at tracks in Iowa, Missouri, Indiana, and Illinois. Local club programs have been established in Idaho, Texas, Nebraska, New York, Ohio, and Florida. All the information that you're looking for on events throughout the country and on all the Ignite kart packages, including dealers in your area, is available at IgniteKarting.com. Get off the couch and on the track this year. Ignite Karting. Fuel your passion. All right, David, let's jump back into the race report here. Again, brought to you by OTK USA. Again, this is what I want to grab it. Episode 87.
87.
Our 87th EKN Debrief, which is, of course, our review show that we put on. I love doing it here on YouTube and primetime. I think we'll do more of these, a lot more of these in 2022. You'll just have to take the morning off, get a little sleep in.
I don't mind that. Yeah, that sounds good. You know,
you're into that?
As long as it doesn't interfere with March Madness, because that's my I gotta be. At least I'll have the TV on here. I can watch.
We can make some adjustments. If
I scream and yell, really loud, it's because I'm watching the TV, not what you're talking about.
Let's go to
especially your predictions.
Listen, I normally beat you anyways in the March Madness thing. I do normally beat you.
In the pool. No.
Yeah.
I'll go back and look. Hold on. Keep talking.
All right, here we go. All right, here we go. Let's go to Mini Swift, because this is the one that we didn't predict going in. You wouldn't have thought was going to happen after qualifying. Let's just do this here. The headline for Mini Swift: SCUSA Pro Tour champion Vid Montien shows patience en route to victory. What a great story. We saw it. We'll talk about a little bit patience later tomorrow in tomorrow's episode as well. But when you're looking at the junior categories and cadets, this was one about patience. This category certainly was, because when you talk Enzo Vidmontien coming in as not only a Pro Tour champion, but also the USPKS champion,
we said in the predictions, he just didn't seem to have that speed and that confidence at the end of the year as much as he did at the beginning, but still got both championships under his belt. So we weren't looking at Vidmontien as one of those drivers to make a statement.
And he didn't have a huge performance at the Rock Vegas race either.
Exactly. Yes.
Which was my mind was,
well.
that thing we're looking at, right?
So again, Vidmontien somehow got put into the slower group for qualifying. So that in alone itself made it a big hurdle to get over quickly. And that was, something that he had to contend with, because again, he qualified 23rd overall in a field of how many we have? 67 drivers started or qualified 23rd overall. So that was, again, so it's like the only way to go is forward. So that in itself was good. But again, when you're talking about the round robin heat races that you have, where you're facing different groups of drivers, all 3 rounds of heats, you got to have that patience. And again, that consistency, just like you talked about with Justin Adiconis, who started X30 Junior on the pole position. You got to stay clean, but you still got to be able to move forward or at least hold your position. And that's something Vidmontien was able to do. But out front, it was basically a Parolin party going on.
No doubt.
We had Vivek Kanthan come out as the top qualifier, able to set fast time in qualifying for that group. And then it was Oliver Kinmark, who was the top driver in all of 3 of his heat races. So he came away with 3 heat race wins to score the pole position.
Yeah.
Other heat wins included Oliver Weldon scoring the B versus C, Asher Osteen in B versus D, and then another Parolin, Christian Costoya, winning. So 4 Parolin wins in the 6 heat races.
And throw in Tyler Roberts as well. There was a lot, the Parolin guys were up front for sure. They had that Cadet chassis is strong, and they had a super strong run through the heat races, as you had said. And with Weldon in there too, I thought that was interesting, kind of how it all played out. But then, of course, we go main event racing, and this one in my mind was so much fun to watch. And I really wasn't surprised how it kind of shook out as kind of things played out. I would have, had you asked me on going into the race who was going to win, I would have said Oliver Kinmark. Yeah, it seemed to me like he was able to make passes at will. He was able to put himself where he wanted, and I wasn't surprised when he and Weldon were out by the halfway point of the race with a nice little advantage.
Yeah, and again, though, they were racing at the same time of day as what they've been used to all day long, so there really wasn't much of a difference for this category itself. So you would think it'd be the same as what we saw in the heat races, would be the same drivers that we see dominating, or at least be in the front group racing on Super Sunday. But again, there wasn't a lot of patience by a lot of the other drivers. There was a lot of jostling for position and trying to be that top driver in the lead group.
Yeah, and again, that's exactly that, because Weldon would eventually go by. They started battling, and as they started battling it out, really, again, that the guy that played that aggressively was it Vidmontien. He was able to great start, getting himself in a position. They were battling. He was, I think, was he in the lead by halfway? Yeah,
just after halfway. I have lap 13 is when he got into the lead. Yeah. Again, he started ninth. So just again, got through the opening laps, got into the top 5 by about the halfway mark, because again, it was only 20 laps. It was only a 20 lap race. Got inside the top 5, and again, like you said, they were just jostling for position, and it kind of just opened up the door for him to go into the lead, and he got into the lead. Little bit of challenge with Weldon, because so once Vidmontien got up there, Weldon kind of was the aggressor, was the attacker going after Vidmontien.
Yeah, and I remember it was Weldon and Oshin and Kinmark all lined up at one point to reel him back in, right, to get back into him. And I know that I have in my notes the Weldon closed with 2 to go, and then he made a move in turn 4. They finally got there, dove into turn number 4, and that brought Kinmark and Oshin back in again, because of course they slowed up on the exit, and boom, they were right back on him again. So
yeah, that move basically gave the win to Vidmontien, because it wasn't a successful move for Weldon, and then it also brought everybody else back in. So it was kind of what we saw with Fletcher, everybody racing for second, except this time it was only 2 laps to go.
Yeah,
and it was like, guys, we got to go, and it just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. So.
Enzo took back the lead at the start of lap number 19. And then Osteen pinched Weldon into the barrier on the exit of turn number 2. Coming out of there. I'm trying to think where. Oh, yes, the pitch. They were coming down in. That's right, coming into turn number 1, and it looked. I think that Weldon might have been able to stay with Vidmontien, but right down, pinch down. It was Osteen coming down. They went all the way down to the apex, and Weldon still got the pass done, but wasn't able to complete it in turn number 2.
Yeah, so that essentially was the winning move for Vidmontien because it was a little bit, just there's not going to be enough time to reel him back in. So, as we talked about, a great way to cap off his junior career for Jeremy Fletcher. This is a great way to cap off the cadet career for Enzo Vidmontien because I believe he's going to be moving up into the junior ranks come 2022. So, Pro Tour Championship, USPKS Championship, SuperNationals victory, major for him and Bennick.
Yeah, what a year for both Enzo Vidmontien and Team Bennick, as you had said. Vivek Canthan ends up finishing in the 2nd spot. David Oliver Weldon 3rd, Jack Isla 4th, and Roman Kamyab, right? Rounding out your top 5.
Yeah, we had Kinmark with a pushback bumper penalties, and then 2 penalties, and then Asher Osteen with a penalty as well too. So they were on the podium at 3rd and 4th, but they were knocked down because of penalties. So you mentioned Tyler Roberts, so he got the. Sorry, I had to move this over here. A 7th place finish, just behind Cash Perkins on the Merlin, moved up 12 spots. So a good Super Sunday performance by Cash Perkins.
Yep.
Osteen moved down to 9th behind Rodrigo Ciebra. Okay.
Yeah, I met Rodrigo on the way to Starbucks in the morning one day. Good kid, great personality, and being coached by João Barbera, the noted sports car racer too. So they're from Portugal, and had a chance to talk to him. Took a selfie with him in line at Starbucks.
There you go.
Super good kid, no doubt.
So Asher moved down to the 9th spot, and then Christian Castoya ended up coming up from 20th to the 10th spot with fast laps of the race. So, and
Castoya, if I'm not mistaken, he might have been the fastest driver in the first qualifying group, the slower qualifying group. I think he had provisional pole when we first started. I think I think you're right. I think he was just a little bit quicker than what Vidmontien. Yeah, he was quickest in the slow group ahead of Rodrigo, with Enzo Vidmontien in the 3rd spot in that. Ends up in the top 10.
Yeah. All three of them.
All three of them. That's right.
All 3 of them. So again, kind of like the Ron White. One year you're winning the LCQ, the next year you're winning the That's right. Yeah. And I will say that Rodrigo did tell me that the engine kind of fell on its face a little bit for the final. That's what he had told me. So good to know that. Still moved up 3 spots though.
That's it. But again, as you said, big win for Enzo Vidmontien. And what a way to cap off the season. A couple of championships. Exclamation point with the Super Nats. Well done. We pause this show for a quick commercial break. Stay tuned for more here on the EKN Radio Network. If the dream is IndyCar, set your target on the Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires. Our ladder system is designed to take drivers through 3 runs of competition. The first step is the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship, which features a carbon tub Tatis chassis, 180 horsepower, and a paddle-shift sequential gearbox. Boost the USF 2000's output to 250 horsepower for the Indy Pro 2000 program, the second rung on the road to Indy. Add in increased grip and more aero downforce, and the Tatis PM18 becomes an incredible training machine. The final step before IndyCar is the Indy Lights Championship presented by Cooper Tires. The Dallara IL-15 boasts a whopping 450 horsepower. This car itself has trained so many drivers in the IndyCar series. At all 3 levels, you race at premier venues on the same dance card as IndyCar. Showcase your skills under the watchful eyes of IndyCar scouts and owners. The program is unprecedented around the world, offering the opportunity to climb the ladder with over $2 million in scholarships to the champions in USF 2000, Indy Pro 2000, and Indy Lights. Former Carters fill the roster of Road to Indy graduates in IndyCar, like Joseph Newgarden, Pato O'Ward, Connor Daly, Jack Harvey, Felix Rosenquist, Colton Herta, Ed Jones, Charlie Kimball, Dalton Kellett, and Renus VK. follow in their footsteps. If you want to race IndyCar, there is only one choice: the Road to Indy, presented by Cooper Tires. You can buy all the latest and greatest products on the market, but when you're karting to win, it boils down to one thing: you, the driver. Gain the knowledge and abilities by investing in yourself at the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy, and you'll find those extra tenths of a second you need to put yourself on the podium. The school was established by Superkarts USA Hall of Fame driver Alan Rudolph, with decades of victories and championships in multiple forms of the sport, including other disciplines of racing. The Alan Rudolph Racing Academy, located at the Speed Sports Racing Park in the metropolitan Houston area, is designed to teach driving skills at all levels. The instructors of the Academy have decades of racing experience and educating drivers of all ages. Classes at the Academy will teach the concepts and skills needed both behind the wheel and off the track. From the beginning kart racing experience and intro to karting courses, to their advanced 1-day and 2-day courses and karting clinics, the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy can improve the skills of any driver. For more information on the specific programs that the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy can provide for you, head to speedsports.com and click on the Racing Academy page. Be sure to follow the Academy on social media by searching for Alan Rudolph Racing Academy. Thank you for listening to the EKN Radio Network. We now join the show already in progress. All right, continuing in the race report brought to you by OTK. Let's go to Micro Swift. And again, another driver who did the same thing as Vid Montien to a certain extent. What a way to cap off the season. Harvick and stellar 2021 season on top of SuperNationals podium.
Yeah, stellar year for Keelan Harvick, again, across the board, beginning with Superkarts USA Winter Series Championship, going all the way through the season, winning at a number of different events, both 2-cycle and 4-cycle, a number of championships to his credit, but a solid season. And we thought Harvick was going to be the guy because I believe he was quickest in nearly every single practice session. Yep. But Ethan Tova was able to lay down a flyer in qualifying to be able to finish the time session in the first spot, with Ashton Woon in the second spot. So we had 3 nitro karts in the top 3 for qualifying, with Tova, Woon, and Harvick. And then you get into the heat races, and that's when Harvick kind of pulled the trigger a little bit and was like, "This is my show, guys," and was able to pull off the win in all 3 heat races. Again, another driver who, when he gets out front, he pretty much puts down some consistent lap times, and then any type of fighting behind him, he's able to pull out a little bit to an advantage. So when it came to the main event time, Harvick was on the pole position with Ethan Tovo on the outside of row 1.
Let me comment on the heat races first, David, before we jump in there, because I just want to say this. I want to say, obviously, probably a career race for Ethan Tovo. He was in the hunt, racy, strong. Could potentially put the cart seemingly everywhere. Was fighting with Keelan throughout the weekend too. So Ethan, huge a weekend for him, and a kid that I think we're going to be talking about for a couple of years here. I think was one of the youngest micros there, and that's Lucas Palacio. I had picked him to be in the top 5. We saw what he was able to do on the Pro Tour, working with Greg Welch from Forward Direction Motorsports on that Cosmic.
Comp Kart.
Really, really impressive.
Comp Kart.
I meant Comp Kart. Thank you.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's the yellow.
They used to have Cosmic. Oh,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Well,
I know that I was on the Comp Kart all year.
Well, J3 used to be Cosmic, remember?
They were.
Old school days. Now they have their own chassis called the Comp Kart.
But Lucas was, I think, P2 in the first 2 heat races, right?
2 heat races, yeah.
Literally was in the scrap. I have a feeling this is a kid we're going to be watching for to be up front next year, running for a lot of wins.
And he's already got a Pro Tour win under his belt.
I know. Yeah.
So he's got the confidence. And again, you got to be consistent through the 3 heat races. And a 26th in heat number 3 cost him the opportunity to be able to start on the front row, or at least row 2.
And I think he ended up in the wall on the outside of turn 1. I think he got pinched out at the start and got into the barriers at the very first lap or something like that, or early in that run, I think. Yeah, so anyway, let's jump into the main, David. Harvick and Tovo on the front row. Strong nitro kart front row.
Yeah, and they were able to hook up and work together to get away. They did have now you said his name. I don't want to mess it up.
Now I asked him I know who you're talking about. I asked him on the podium to make sure I got it right.
I've been thinking about this all day, and I can't remember how to say it.
It's Faithan Sarapon.
Faithan
Sarapon. No D. I always say the D. He told me
it's like George Michael. You got to have faith, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Faithan.
Right?
Faithan
Faithan Sarapon. We're going to keep. We're going to make because he's going to be a kid. We're going to be talking about.
He's going to be another one. Yeah,
that's exactly right.
And it was those three drivers that were kind of able to break away. And unfortunately, Tovo did not leave his wingman. He kept on the back bumper of Harvick, and they were able to eventually, after the halfway point, get away from Faithon. So it was really a two-driver fight.
That's it. And then Sarapon, he got back in. He was right at the line coming across with them, but it only was because they were battling
of
on
the last lap battle. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it was he lost the draft enough to be able to not fight on that last lap, but then as they got to the checker flag, was there wanting in one more lap. But
that's it. One more lap, and it would have been good. In the end, like you said, Harvick was able to hold the position. Tovo did whatever he could in the last, trying to go around the outside to get the better run. I really wish the start-finish line was a little further down.
It was the closest finish of the weekend.
Was it really?
53 thousandths of a second.
Nice.
So just a little bit of a narrower gap than the one we'll talk about tomorrow.
Jackson Porter, quick all weekend. Right, I thought it was a really good weekend for Jackson Porter. He was right in the fight there, and an Ashton Woon, who I think we knew would be part of the fight. Ashton ended up coming home in P5.
Well, Porter actually qualified 31st, so he was able to move his way forward. Got 18th, and 23rd to be able to start in the 19th position.
He started 19th and finished 4th.
So moved up. He was a hard charger of the race. Was able to move up 15 spots into that 4th position.
Wow.
Aboard the Bennick. So a good showing for Jackson. Again, Jackson we've seen at the Challenge in the Americas. Hopefully we'll be able to see him again when we head down to Musselman Honda Circuit in Tucson at the end of January.
We got to go back to this one because we literally didn't mention it on the debrief at the Resorts World. No, I didn't see it. It was Braden Robertson back in KA100 Junior.
Yes,
we did.
We didn't.
I don't remember doing. I don't remember doing it. Obviously.
Well, that might have been the class that you stepped away from.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. He was the hard charger in that category.
His dad dropped the hammer. He's a crosslink driver, right?
Yeah.
And it was and they finished 10th and 11th. Aiden Rudolph and Braden Robertson. Robertson
finished
fight. Normally we have the hard chargers in here. I forgot about that. Let's make sure we have the hard chargers for tomorrow. So we give those.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
That's all right.
Is it my internet that's lagging or yours?
I don't know. I can hear you. Everything's fine with me.
All right, good. All right.
Probably
the family upstairs.
So Braden Robertson in K100 Junior. We didn't get a chance to talk about them. I'm sure they're hopefully they'll wait in for that one. But yeah, that was a great run. 31st he started. You're saying?
He qualified 31st and then started the main event in the. Oh, see, I lost it.
No, I meant Braden.
19. Oh, Braden. Yes.
Braden.
Sorry.
Because he passed a ton of guys.
I'm pretty sure we talked about every hard charger if we mentioned their name in the one there. But yes, I did not put it into our debrief here. I'd like to get a title name for the hard charger. That's something we got to work on.
Do we need a sponsor? Do we need a hard charger sponsor?
I think we need to just so that way we can plug that in. But 32nd, qualified 34th. Had a 39, a 39, and an 18th. So he started the main event in the 32nd position.
That's Braden.
So maybe he just likes to drive on Sundays. Maybe that's what it is. But either way, it was a very strong performance for him. Up 21 positions, and like you said, behind Aiden Rudolph, the other crosslink competition driver.
Well, so that's essentially with 20. That's almost a cart a lap.
Yeah.
Right. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well done for Braden Robertson there. That's solid. Otherwise, that wraps it up. There we go. Harvick with the win. And again, Harvick winning the USPKS.
Yes.
CKNA Grand Nationals.
Both the Spring Nationals and the Grand Nationals.
And then he wins the SuperNats.
And along with the SCUSA Winter Series as well, too.
Yeah. So he wins the biggest 4-cycle race of the year and the biggest 2-cycle race of the year for that mini category, cadet category. So yeah, Keelan Harvick, tremendous job. Ethan Tovo, like I said, shout out to Ethan for doing a great job, and Faith on Sarapon as well for being right in the fight. There you go, folks. That's your race report.
No, we didn't. A couple more names.
What do you
Yeah,
got?
no, we didn't. I was just say Ashton went 5th. We didn't mention.
I
the
did.
top
I already
5.
said that.
Oh, okay. Sorry, my bad.
And Jackson Porter. We just talked about Jackson Porter.
I'm dealing with this. You're cutting out, so I'm trying to figure out if it's my internet or if it's your internet. So
must be mine because you're not cutting out on me.
Okay, good. Then it is probably yours. All right, then we're good.
It happens.
But yeah, again. Hey, I said it in our outlap. This category was pretty calm. Did not have a lot of major issues.
No.
And kept everything clean throughout the week. So keep doing that, Micros.
Yes. Keep doing that.
Keep doing that. You be you. You be you.
We pause this show for a quick commercial break. Stay tuned for more here on the EKN Radio Network.
Located in Mooresville, North Carolina, on-site at GoPro Motorplex, Kart Sport North America features over 6,000 square feet of retail space. Along with being the official race team and distributor for the Kart Republic chassis, they offer full retail sales, kart service and storage, and products from the top brands in the sport such as CZ Chain, Talon Sprockets, SKF bearings, and Prisma tire gauges. If you want to take your racing to the next level, they also offer driver training and coaching programs available trackside at GoPro Motorplex. They have a massive inventory, so head to their online store at kartsportna.com to get same-day shipping of the parts and components that you need. While you're there, check out their used section of karts, engines, parts, and accessories. Kart Sport North America. Top quality products, winning brands, and professional driver development services.
We don't just drive trucks because they're dependable workhorses that let us tackle icy roads all winter and tow a boat on the summer weekends. We also drive trucks because they're fun. And the Cooper Discoverer Rugged Trek is a truck tire made with fun in mind. Like any Cooper tire, the Rugged Trek is designed to do everything you need it to do. It's got stone blockades to protect your tires off-road and whisper grooves for smooth, quiet street driving. But with its in-your-face design, like the dual sidewalls that let you choose between two aggressive looks, the Cooper Discoverer Rugged Trek is also a tire that shows off your truck's wild side. It's the tire that's off-road party on the outside and dependable all-purpose Cooper design on the inside. Learn more at coopertire.com. Go with the Coopers. Thank you for listening to the EKN Radio Network. We now join the show already in progress. All right, David, let's jump into the Constructors' Championship for these particular 4 categories. I'm surprised Parolin doesn't have one, with how good they were. But Tony Kart with 2, Bennick with 1, and Nitro Kart with 1.
Yeah, it was, as we'll talk about some more tomorrow, but pretty diverse aside from Jeremy Fletcher in these 4 categories getting 2 of the victories. So a good a good mix of chassis brands. And again, like you said, Parolin was among the a good brands throughout the week, especially in the mini category. We had a number of nitros in the micro division as well. Bennix were doing doing well in both categories, as we said, with Jackson Porter in the micro division and Enzo Vidmontien in mini Swift. And again, a number of OTK karts out there in the junior divisions as well too.
Lots.
But Kart Republic runner up in X30 Junior with Max Garcia. So a number of different brands.
That's right.
What's that? Yeah, on the
Willpower.
Willpower kart made by Kart Republic. So
that's it.
Number of different brands up there. I'm looking at I think it was mostly OTKs up there. Yeah, we had OTK for the top 6 with Elliot Cox. Great. That was the best performance I've seen. I said that in our debrief at the hotel. Best performance I'd seen all year by Elliot Cox to finish 7th. Again, another driver on the Willpower kart.
That's right. All right. Predictions. David and I made a bunch of predictions.
Do we have to show these?
Yeah, let's get some graphics up here.
Where do you want to go?
What do you want to just throw
back
it
to
up
the top?
Let's go back to the top.
X30 Junior.
X30 Junior.
You should I go first since I'm not going to win total wise?
Yeah, you go first.
Well, actually, we'll go by who was best in class.
I like that.
So
I like that.
X30 Junior. You had 6 points. Let me pull up the spreadsheet here.
Who did I have? I picked 3. I picked 3 of them.
So you have 4 of the top 4 of the top. I have 4. I have it listed as
I got
4 of
four?
the
Did I?
top 5.
Oh, I
Fletcher, Ingrata, Garcia, and Gaffer.
And I got Gaffer in the right spot.
And you have Gaffer in the right spot. Yes, you do. But if we click over to me, so did I.
Yeah, but
Uh-oh.
you don't have Vinny Phillips, so I won the class.
Yes. So you had one more top 5 pick than I did. So you had 6 points in this category compared to my 5. So it was, again, a good competitive category for us.
That was solid. That was 100%
We both
solid.
picked one driver to finish in that correct position. So not bad, not bad.
That's not bad. That was actually pretty impressive, actually.
So
David, for everybody who like throws us under the bus,
yeah,
like literally, like we get in there like you're wrong. How do you not pick me? Blah blah blah. I thought I did pretty good. I'm pretty happy there.
Yeah, I think
we don't look stupid.
Well, hold on. Other than Master Shifter, this was the one category where we picked the most top 5 finishes. So you had 4 and I had 3. So it's pretty good. Now we'll get into a bad one where we're a really, really bad one for me and a not so good for you. So K100 Junior.
Yeah.
You had 2 of the top 5.
Oh, by the way, I go back. I told Jeremy I picked him to win. I obviously didn't pick Jeremy to win.
You didn't
pick him for
to
second.
Win.
We both picked Kai Sorensen to win, so I will correct myself there.
Yes.
I'm dumb.
It's okay.
Yeah, but it obviously helped give him some what do you call it?
Yeah, but
so
here you
you
only had 2 correct. Can you pick them out?
I had Fletcher and Noah Baker.
Correct. So those were the 2 drivers.
But I had Baker in the right spot.
No.
Yeah, I picked Baker 5th. He finished 5th.
Let me see that. Hold on. So now I got to go back. Oh shit, I missed that, didn't I?
Yeah. Thank God we can do this.
See, it's good that we go over it, so we'll adjust the point totals for you. Hold on. So that gives you 1 more point now. So that's good for you.
Good stuff.
So let me update. Damn it. Now I got to update. All right. So you had 3 points in this category. We'll show you my dismal selections here. I had Elio Meza in the 2nd spot. I would have gotten 4 points for that.
He would have.
But then
hey, listen. I'll give you the props on the Elio Mesa pick because he's a heck of a young driver, and I just hadn't picked him to get in this position, and he was right there, like you said. And Vasquez, I didn't pick Vasquez, and he was fast all weekend.
He was fast again. It's just the cookies did not crumble my way.
Yeah,
Ingrata
and Aiden Rudolph ended up finishing 10th, not 5th, but still in the top 10.
Yeah. And, he just didn't have that pace to be in the top 5, which, it happens, that's sometimes how it goes. And Ingrata actually was watching the race from the sideline. I think he was involved in an opening lap wreck. So that did not help my predictions at all. So
I beat you there too.
So yes, you beat me 3-0 for those keeping at home. It was 6-5 in X30 Junior, 3-0 in KA100 Junior.
Awesome.
We will go now to Mini Swift. Can you tell me how many you got right here, Rob?
I got 1 right. I have 1 guy, right? No, Jack Iliff. I have 2.
There you go.
I got 2 guys in there, but nobody in the right spot.
Correct.
Yeah. I picked Iliff and Vid Montien to be there, and they were both in the top 5. That's
there you go. And if we go to mine, it shows the same thing with Iliff and Vid Montien in the top 5.
Yeah.
So essentially, this category was a wash. We were both 2 for 2 in this one. Did not
set the world on fire in that one.
No. All right, Micro Swift. How are we looking?
This is me. I ended up with a whopping 1. Wow. I got the winner.
But you had the winner.
So
that's 6 points for you. It's a good point. I mean, that's as many as you scored in X30 Junior. Good score. Good score, Rob. Unfortunately, I had a little bit of a better score than you did.
What do you got? Let me see what yours looks like.
I have the winner.
Yeah.
And then I have Gianmatteo Rousseau. Oh, I'm sorry. Serapon.
No, you have Serapon.
Yep. That's what I meant. Sorry.
All right.
Wrong person.
So you nipped me on that one.
So I got 7 points out of that one. So if you're counting at home, 7 points for David, 6 points for Rob.
Where do we end up all told?
So that essentially puts us, and I adjusted the total already, Rob at 17 points and David at 14 points for the 4 categories that we began with. So
sweet. All right. There you go.
Here. Yeah. So
Nice. Nice.
I will say 7 is not the highest score from a class. So
Really?
We'll have our highest score in a category tomorrow.
Hold on. I'm going to quickly look here at my.
No.
I wanted to see. I wanted to quick look through, see if I can figure out who it is real quick.
Come on. I wouldn't talk about it if it was you.
You're such a dick. You're such a dick. Let me see here. Well, it wasn't Pro Shifter. It definitely wasn't X30 Senior.
No. You had a good score there, but not quite the highest.
It wasn't KA Senior, was it?
No.
Oh, it's Master Shifter.
Oh.
You got it perfect. No, you didn't.
I did not have it perfect. But
first, second, and third.
I picked the winner.
You picked the winner.
And 4 drivers in it.
And you know what? The funny thing is Musser was second but got the pushback.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. So see,
That's good. Well done. All right.
We'll talk more about that class tomorrow.
All right. So let's wrap things up, folks. We're back tomorrow again. Same time, David, or we have to go 8:30?
Oh, 8 p.m. is going to
okay.
work, yeah.
I wasn't sure what's going on with the Dave playing sports, Dad.
No, that was tonight. I got back in time. Yep.
All right. So let's jump into the EKN Trackside Live race calendar then. Let everybody know where we're going to be because this season's done.
Let's do
the next one. All right. This edition brought to you by Franklin Motorsports. Franklin Motorsports is a leader in the karting industry with over 50 years of combined karting experience, and they can provide you with everything you need to go racing. With a large online product selection, select track support events, and a wide variety of shop services, Franklin Motorsports is your complete karting source. They specialize in IME engines, tilt seats, and of course, their championship-winning Merlin chassis. They've been supplying racers with start-to-finish support at race events for years, from providing a helping hand on a weekday test outing or in a club event, to full arrive and drive packages at the highest level of karting competition. For all things karting, visit franklinkart.com. And David, not just championship winning Merlin, SuperNationals winning Merlin chassis as well.
Again, another category we'll talk about tomorrow.
That's it. So again, we're off for another 3 weeks, January 7th to the 9th. It's no rest for the wicked, that's for sure. Superkarts USA Winter Series back on. AMR Miami Motorplex AM presented by MG Tires. AMR Motorplex.
I thought, AMR Motorplex Homestead.
No, literally what it's AMR AMR Homestead Miami Motorplex presented by MG Tires.
That's the way it is.
Shake my earbuds off. Lots. Down at Homestead. You and I are going to both be there for the opening round of the SCUSA Winter Series. A lot of kids jumping from micro to mini to junior to senior. Not many guys going from senior to masters.
No, you only save that for SuperNationals. That's Joey Wim said.
That's right. And then 3 weeks later, we'll kick off the new Challenge of the Americas series, the Musselman Honda Circuit for their first round. 15th year, right? 15th year for the Challenge of the Americas, if I'm not mistaken. Entry open today, right?
Opened on the 8th. We put out a press release.
Oh, that's right.
Letting people know, reminding people about that today. So
get
very excited.
Hotels.
Yeah, get your hotels for Tucson and Phoenix for sure because of the surrounding events going on in those cities. And then obviously Sonoma is always a busy area during the month of March and April. So book that one as well too. But they're expecting to get obviously the entries pouring in before Christmas and then just after New Year's and then kind of shape up what they're hoping to be a record season for the challenge program. And then go ahead.
As you can, not much turnaround.
No, not much turnaround. And again, that's the difference. That's the downside. And again, something we talked about in the paddock a little bit was the guys doing the. It's not a lot of time for the winter series, and SCUSA's got to regroup. All the teams have got to regroup. Competitors have got to regroup, and so having it before Thanksgiving kind of helps you give those 2 extra week buffer to get ready for the next season. So we're hoping that SuperNats is going to move back to that.
I'm hoping too. Yeah, as Jerry Brown just says here, Fletcher's senior debut at AMR coming this weekend in the SSKC, the Southern Florida Sunshine Karting Championship, and then he's going to Daytona as well.
Yeah.
So for some guys, not a lot of time, right there.
Well, when you live in Florida, you're expected to race 12
That's
months
true.
out of the year, right?
I actually talked to Mike Rawlson a bit earlier today.
And I forgot this one too.
And he told me that they're super busy. They're obviously taking carts out. Of course, all the Rawlson Performance Group carts from the SuperNats are all for sale. So if you're looking for a go-kart, give Mike Rawlson a call. They're packing up and heading back to Florida. And yeah, Ashton Woon, why didn't you predict me in your top fives? There's like 10 guys we could pick. Hopefully it motivated you, Ashton.
It's better because he finished top 5. That's why I wanted to mention that a little bit earlier, because I didn't know about the top 5 breakdown. Sometimes we don't pick guys so they do finish in the top 5 or even win, as we heard from Derek Wang on the podium.
Yeah, you did get folks. If you didn't watch X30 Masters, the podium, Derek Wang in his victory
celebration speech,
his celebration, lambasting David Cole. I think he called you the 5th best editor of assistant editor.
That would have been better if it said assistant editor. Assistant to the assistant.
Let's give a shout out here to Rob Dutton. Thank you so much. Appreciate the kind words. Thanks for everything you guys do in the karting community. Appreciate it. That is awesome. We appreciate it. What else we got going on? Oh, here's one here. Thanks, David, for having Gia Mateo. Unfortunately, we wanted to correct a problem and change the setup for the final. Not the best decision, so we could not hold down your points. Gia Mateo Rosso.
Next year, buddy.
Great driver. Great young driver. He was fun to watch.
Tour champion.
Yeah, fun to watch him this year. Gia Mateo Rosso is a tremendous little young driver, and I love it. Running number one, too.
One more final thing.
Dave?
I'm waiting for the pictures to come. I actually messaged AMR Motorplex about it. All the new updates and upgrades are going to be there. They're done. They should be completed and getting ready for that Sunshine State Karting Challenge event that will be coming up here. I think this weekend was it?
I think it's this weekend. Yeah.
So, we're waiting to get the official photos from them and be able to publish those on social media, show everybody the grass that is growing around the racetrack.
I want to see that. Yeah,
the new curbing and the new the rumble strips on the exit points.
Well, there's some good information to cap off this edition of the Debrief. This is number 1. We got another one coming tomorrow, 8 o'clock tomorrow evening. We've got all the senior categories, the Masters categories as well. David, who we got? We got a couple of guys coming in, right?
I hope to. I haven't contacted them yet, but
all right.
It should be easy.
I thought you had those locked in already.
I got busy with, again, we got the Rotax Grand Finals going on, so I was trying to get that coverage done that I got to publish in a little bit later. Yeah, we're going to try to we can't get Derek Wang because he's actually there right now.
That's right. That's true. Yeah.
So he'll be sleeping, so we won't be able to get him. We'll try and get Joey Wimsett out of his barn, see if he can, and the stash. We'll see if he's shaved it yet, or we'll see if he's keeping it. And we'll try and get Norberg. And we'll try and get Ryan Norberg as well too. So again, we'll try to have a few guests and see what happens. Again, it was a long week. We're still recovering.
And as always, it was like I'm literally still not recovered yet. My voice is still a little scratchy. Any of our shows like this that we have on Facebook and on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook, it will be archived on YouTube. You can go there, watch it on YouTube anytime as well. We'll push that out tomorrow, let people know where they can go on if you missed it or if you just came in late, like Sean Bailiff just did. Sean, how are you? Probably getting ready for the new season as well at Trinity.
Probably getting ready for WKA. They got the Margay Ignites going down there, and they'll probably do some KA racing down there on the Kart Republic. So they'll be busy.
Otherwise, folks, thank you so much for tuning into this edition of the Debrief. We are back once again tomorrow with another one to cap off our coverage of the Superkarts USA SuperNationals. Thanks again, folks. We do appreciate it. Big thank you to Parallel USA for being our presenting sponsor here today. On behalf of David Cole, my name is Rob Howden. Bye for now.